Hello and welcome to Charlie's Desk. Thanks for watching. Let's dive right in. So today on the desk I have what's called an interlining desk slate. And this one was made by the British and Foreign Blind Association sometime between 1902, because that was when the Royal National Institute for the Blind was called the British and Foreign Blind Association, just generally referred to as BA, it seems like. Okay, so here is the interlining desk slate. It just looks like a little cute clipboard, and there is kind of two pieces to it. There's the clipboard, which holds the paper in place, and then there's the movable kind of hinged slate that is familiar to so many people, and maybe some people have one of these kind of clipboard style things, but this one is really old and cool. So I'm going to spend a little time describing it piece by piece. Right now I have it set up with a piece of paper that I was trying to braille on. But then my hand was getting tired from brailing, and I was like, oh man, I totally need to work on my contractions because that would save me time. Okay, so I'll start with the clipboard part, and we'll break that down into two parts, being the board part and the clip part. Okay, so the board part is made out of 3 pieces of wood. It's not that big. It's 7¼ inches wide and like 11¼ inch sort of tall. And I said it's made out of 3 pieces of wood. So the largest piece of wood is in the center. It's a central rectangle. And then on the side, there's sort of these 2 rails. It's all the same width, but the rails have the holes drilled in them to hold the slate part as it moves up and down the piece of paper. And those rails are connected with tongue and groove joints, which are visible at the bottom. And they're both sort of dark brown woods, but the wood that the rails are made out of seems to be a harder wood. You can see the grain. It's like almost red and a little more shiny than the wood for the center part. And then addition to the tongue and groove, there are 2 screws on either side, flathead screws. A little bit rusty, but well done. And then, okay, then we can go to the clip part. So the clip part is super cool because it's like, it's just so unfamiliar to clipboards today. There's no like spring or big metal piece. The majority of it is wood. Okay, so there's 2 hinges that hold on a strip of wood the full width of the clipboard. And if I open that up, there's 4 little teeth, and then 4 little holes that those teeth sink into to hold the paper in place. And then you fold over that piece of wood, and then there is like a little leaf-shaped brass piece that you slide over, or you sort of rotate around, and that holds down the piece of wood with the little teeth that is biting into the piece of paper, and that'll keep it still. So it's it's not it's an old thing. It's pretty nifty, and it feels very handmade, especially with the hinges as they are on the back, because the screws holding them in are all uneven. So maybe like someone put it back together and didn't do it as proper as the maker. But yeah, there's 2, there's this kind of serial number on the very top that's either 80 or 08. I think it's 08 because the letters on the opposite side, BA for Blind Association, if you read it that way, then it would be Blind Association 08, so maybe 1908 or the 8th one. And then on the back, there is like a piece of paper glued to it with information about how to use it and how to buy it. And I don't even know what the prices mean. The price of this large frame is 5/6, Oh, this isn't the large frame. The price of the large frame is 5/6. Small frame, 4/3. So I don't know what that means. But yeah, okay, so that's the clipboard part. Pretty nifty, pretty cute. And then the slate part, which looks like brass to me. It's heavy, and it has 2 rows of 25 cells separated by a width of a cell, so you can do interlining. On right now, the way I'm holding it in my left hand is the hinged side, and when I open it up and I place both thumbs on either side of the hinge on the inside, I can feel that the the brass has been filed down, and I can see that there's just like nice little irregularities in the hinge that is like, oh, this was just another handmade thing. So in addition to the 2 rows of 25, you have those piano hinges on the left side right now. And then on the right side, there's just a hole drilled in the front face of the slate. And then like a little brass cylinder on the opposite side of that that'll just snap into. And then on the back, 2 little knobs that go in the holes that are drilled on either side of the board part of the clipboard. So as you're writing, you move it down. And yeah, so that's sort of the basic description of it. I'll put a piece of paper in it so you can hear those teeth biting down. I'm gonna put a new piece of paper in. So I had to cut a piece of paper to kind of fit this thing. I don't know what like old style paper this was. It's kind of like the width of a small envelope, so like letter writing, I guess. Others can let me know what they think. Okay. I'll try not to. Okay, now I'll push it down. And then once it's bitten into the paper, you rotate the little brass leaf. Okay. Now that the paper's in, I'm going to take the slate part, open it up, and slide it all the way up to the top. And then I can, start my brailling. Looks like I didn't cut the paper quite the right width, but whatever. Oh, and I'll move it down, the slate part, more towards the middle of this thing so it's easier to see, and I'll just braille. I don't know, something. I initially was pressing too hard. I'm using a jumbo stylus because that seems to fit better than the other one, but maybe I'm wrong. Always open to that. So yeah, I think I already said it, but the British and Foreign Blind Association was just what the Royal National Institute for the Blind was called at that time. And I got this item from Maryland. I'm thinking it probably was from some student at the Maryland School for the Blind, and just ended up in an attic or something like that. But before the 1900s, it wasn't easy to get slates in the U.S. So as early as the 1870s, I was reading that British slates were available in a Perkins catalog, because this was used for music, but I'm not totally sure on that and everything like that. These specific interlining slates, right? So interlining was sort of an innovation, being able to write on both sides of the page. That started being available as early as 1882. So this model seems to be later on because it has a piano hinge. The older versions had like a swivel hinge, which looks a a little bit different, but you know what? I'll just go. I found, you know, just a piece. I found just a piece of the larger version of this that's perhaps, you know, older, coming from Tennessee. And there was the Tennessee School for the Blind. And this one is different. It's older. It doesn't have piano hinges. It just has sort of like, you know, a bolt coming out of one side and a hole drilled on one end of the top plate. And it just kind of rotates. It rotates around to lock in place. And this one has 35. So this was the wider model, but maybe older. Still an interlining slate. So it could be as early as 1882 or later, whenever they started doing the piano hinges. And so what I would think would be fun, and what I'm going to do is try and like rebuild a larger version of this, and then get a chance to talk about some of the history of connections between the British schools for the blind and British institutions for the blind and American institutions for the blind, and the exchange of goods and everything like that, and ideas. More ideas than goods. So yeah, so here's this beautiful little thing. Hope everyone's doing okay, and yeah, take care. Thanks for watching, and hope to have more content soon. Bye.